We're giving them 10p off regardless whether they've bought a cup in or not. Alright? Oh, hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of EastEnders Weekly, where we discuss all things. Can you guess yet?
Hollyoaks.
Oh no. But who shot Mercedes?
Well, who did? We know two people who probably haven't.
Or do we?
Well, that's true. The flashbacks are very misleading. But no, we're not talking about that. No.
Oh, 1 week I will be talking about Hollyoaks, just to warn everyone.
I mean, we do talk about Hollyoaks most weeks now. It's not a week that passes when Hollyoaks
Mercedes was
isn't mentioned.
dancing on her own in a nightclub and then gets shot.
What did they put that? Oh, it was a meme on Twitter. Dancing with the Joker on the stairs.
Oh yeah. I am upset they weren't playing Murder on the Dance Floor, but that's another topic.
Oh, that would have been a bit cliche. That would almost be like playing one.
It's Hollyoaks.
Yeah, but that would almost be like playing 5,000 Miles by the Proclaimers as you're driving up to Scotland. Something no soap would ever do.
No, not that trashy.
Too cliche.
We're talking about EastEnders.
Oh, of course.
Speaking of trashy. And we are discussing the episodes that were broadcast on BBC One between the 4th and the 8th of November. How would you rate this week? Is it an I do or is it a leave you at the altar? Because there was a wedding this week.
Yes, I got the reference. Yes, the wedding kind of absorbed the end of the week. Was it an I do or an I don't, which would have been a much cleverer way of putting it. But no. I don't like to tell you how to host, Ben, of course, being the host of the most. I'd say it was an I do. I'd say it was an I do with a slight interruption from a phone call from a mum that doesn't care, but hung up by someone who knows better.
That's good. I really enjoyed this week. I've been spending the past 2 weeks moaning, but I enjoyed it this time.
It felt like a kind of traditional episode, didn't it? It just kind of felt like it.
It felt like a classic.
That's right, yeah. You could look back on it in a few years' time and fondly remember all the things. Fondly remember why you fondled.
I mean, seeing the group like in a car just automatically feels a bit classic EastEnders, like typical EastEnders, that is. I
did think it was a bit... Did it not feel like they were like the anthill mob in the car, like in Wacky Races, and they were like chasing one another? Like Penelope Pitstop could have been Bernie.
Bernie is just so terribly underused, I noticed. But we'll talk about this later, but I need more Bernie in me.
We all need Bernie in us. It's like a vitamin B.
Before we even start then talking about this show, we've got our shout out of the week.
That's right, Ben. That's correct. I'm Alex as well.
There you are, you're Alex, I'm Ben.
Yes. We have a problem with introducing ourselves in this show.
That's because I don't care about myself.
Well, good.
Or you.
You're not Louise. You just throw anyone under the bus. Shout out of the week. We got 2 shout out of the weeks this week.
Martin was under a bus once.
He was. Do you remember they used the strength of 100 people to lift the bus up?
One kush.
The equivalent of a kush. There's been a few pictures of kush flying around as well. If you've been checking out our Twitter.
Very saucy.
Don't know what he's doing while he's been away. Shout out of the week. So, 2 this week. Number 1, at Peter Albanese had sent us a tweet saying, getting through the back catalogue of the shows, love the banter and the one-liners you both have. What is he listening to? It can't be this. Love the quizzes and the games too. Best podcast ever.
Ooh,
ever?
Wow.
In the history of mankind. I mean, they should beam our podcast into space so other worlds can hear it. They might want to come down and it might be a way of beckoning them in. We'd love a shout out if possible. No. And would like to know how the Ethel Show research is getting on.
Oh, he's the one who suggested the Ethel Show, I remember.
Well, we suggested the Ethel Show. He just wants to know how we're getting along with it.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Progress is slow, Peter.
I just love Ethel. But she's not... It's because we're watching classic, you see. We don't want to rush our Ethel.
No one
Take her bit
Ethel.
by bit, like reading a tea leaf.
You sound like you're eating her. Just fry her on a fondue set.
We will get there, but we stopped our features recently, so we can't just do another feature.
We only do features now for very special occasions.
But we'll get there with Ethel once we've seen all she has to offer me.
I mean, it's a long time yet before her death.
That's fine. I watched a lot of episodes.
Another shout out.
Oh.
EastEnders archivist Mark James Lowe.
Oh, yeah.
Now, he is running the London Marathon and would like some donations for the charity Calm Zone, which runs a helpline and web chat for the biggest killer of men under 45, suicide. A great cause, and if you could possibly maybe not buy your coffee on your way to work one day, you could then donate that £3 to his run that he's doing in, is it March, the London Marathon, or April? Ben shrugged his shoulders.
I don't leave my house, so I don't know.
Okay. If you want to donate to Mark, who is the archivist of EastEnders, who's running the London Marathon.
And he's doing a really good job on this. He's
doing an excellent job. We always reference the great throwbacks he does.
He brought in that Ange and Den chat with Sharon and Kathy on a bench. That's what we like.
And Pauline and Peter's birthday when they clink to the glasses.
That's all down to him.
So say thank you to him by donating to him. Go to justgiving.com/fundraising/Mark James Lowe. Mark James Lowe is MarkJamesLowe. So justgiving.com/fundraising/Mark James Lowe, and donate what you can. Like I say, if you pop into work of a morning and you think, oh, I fancy that latte, think, no, I don't want that latte actually. I want to donate to a man who's running 26.4 miles, which is, I think, a marathon.
Big beard as well. So carry that around.
Well, I couldn't pull off the same size beard, so I've actually shaved mine now.
That's nice.
This is griffing stuff. Shall we go and talk about EastEnders?
Yes, because we've got horrible mums to talk about. Yeah, because horrible old Shelley's around still. The one that we remember Shirley punched in the face.
Shirley punched Shelley.
And lovely Shelley and Tina just turned up. I want to know why Tina was back before Shirley when they went on holiday together.
They did. They went away together.
Tina was just there in the cafe randomly, and then Shirley came in like a taxi later.
And also the fact that Shirley, the flight from where she, because they only came, what was Portugal, wasn't it, or Spain, or
it was Italy.
It was Italy. So 4-hour flight, and then maybe an hour cab journey home. Probably not even that because of the London airport. And Shirley felt like she had to make up on the lost drinking she'd done in that small time.
She have a drinking problem?
I don't know. I think it's a Carter tradition, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just bizarre. It's like Tina and her didn't go on holidays together, but the writers like wrote in that they did, but they didn't.
But then I suppose Tina does have a habit of leaving the flock, doesn't she? Remember when they went to the Spice Girls concert, and then Tina hooked up with another Jerry, in the toilets, and then didn't turn up back to her job. So I suppose maybe Tina kind of decided to wander and find some Italian lady, or maybe she had a better time. When this is maybe Shirley was just propping up a bar everywhere, having a margarita pizza and a glass of red.
And also Tina just found it funny and brushed off the fact she didn't tell Kathy about drugs.
Yeah, I know.
She didn't seem bothered at all about Kathy.
But Kathy doesn't seem bothered either.
That's true. Still high as her.
Yeah, she's still got a job. And Tina this week gives Shirley a job in the pub as well, the Albert, without even asking Kathy, if there's permission. This woman who has openly said that she just wants to drink all night. So could she be trusted to stand behind a bar?
I know. I mean, there was no people there because Tina was getting her to work in the bar as like a decoy because Linda didn't want Shirley turning up to see Shelley at E20, where also Jean and Kat were meant to be meeting Shirley.
Yes, because Jean's having a few drinks just to forget about all the chemo and all the trouble she's had these past few weeks, and it's meant to let her hair down. But the entertainment was quite
Snatch her wig off.
That's it. Yeah. Do a death drop on the floor whilst dancing to the latest hits. And, God, that makes me sound really... the latest hits in the parade! And well, basically, Linda found out, as you said, by Tina, that Shelley is not Shirley's friend, and that really she should kind of break it off between them as well. But Linda, in her mind, thinks, the only way I'm going to let Ollie have a normal life, inverted commas, normal life, in school is if she keeps this friendship with all the clique and the cool mums.
So awful. Like, there's not like one redeeming thing about any of them. So I don't know why Linda's so desperate to be friends with them when there's loads of mums on the square.
Well, because she sees them. I think this is quite a regular thing in real life as well. She sees them as like the main important ones. And if you want to get anywhere in school, your kids want to be in the most popular parties and with the most popular kids. And the only way you can do that is with these yummy mummies who are really cool.
I know, but it's like, has Linda really ever been like that before? It seems a bit slightly out of character.
But she's a much older mother this time, isn't she? So it's much difficult for her to get herself into this group. And she found an inn, and Shelley seemed to like her as well.
Yeah.
She did. But... she stood up for Linda, didn't she, in the school gates when Linda said, let's go to E20 again for cocktails. And one of the yummy mummies was like, no, not doing that again. And she went, no, I really liked it there, actually. Yeah, we'll do it again. So Shelley is obviously the head honcho, the one you need to impress the most.
But yeah, she thinks that Shelley thinks that Shirley is a monkey and maybe not very bright, and like Linda overheard her like slagging her off as well. Yeah,
but didn't stand up for Shirley, and so then Linda left the club and Shirley followed her, and then they had that big slagging match.
Oh yeah, fireworks.
In the square. Yeah, literally fireworks. When the environment around you copies the scene that you're watching, there's a word for that. If only I could dig up my media studies degree to find out what that is.
Yeah, I mean, she called Linda out on it and tried to get Mick on side and Tina on side. But she's standing by her yummy mummies.
Which she wasn't she? Until she overheard one of the yummy mummies then Shirley talking about her behind her back, and more specifically Ollie and Linda. Then that was the final straw, really. So not anyone else, it's just Ollie. If anyone upsets her about Ollie, then she's not going to have any more. She's not going to tolerate any more of it.
I'm assuming that's like the end of that storyline then. That weird few weeks in our lives.
Well, I don't know, because there's obviously the party, isn't there, at the Jumping Bean Play Centre with Mr. Bubble.
Are we going to see that though?
I want to see Mr. Bubble.
Blacklisted?
Well, we had to ordeal 2 children's parties when they had them at the community centre, with Stacey getting grumpy with Martin because Kush was doing better than him on the stage. Yeah. So
that was an anniversary episode, that was.
Was it? Wow, what an anniversary that was. Maybe Mr. Bubble's party then was the 35th. Maybe that's the plan. They're already setting the scene.
But I hope that's the end of that storyline, because I just didn't do much for me.
It's the start, isn't it, of the Linda storyline that we already know, the one we keep taking the mick out of, which is the fact that Linda is having... Sorry, spoiler, if you don't want to hear, skip.
Well, it's not so much of a spoiler anymore, because she keeps like drinking on the side. Like she keeps...
But then everyone does.
I know, so it's hard
Everyone
to
on the square is drinking. Shirley was paid with vodka to work at the Albert. There was a character, someone mentioned it on our Twitter, that was walking around the whole square all day. Jay drinking to swallow, to drown his problems away. Everyone turns to the bottle for their problems.
Linda picks one drink up off the side of the bar and she's an alcoholic.
Yeah, but they're planting it as well. They're trying to make us, see it. They want us to see that it's not really out of the character of Linda to have a drink. Linda does have a drink, and there's been occasions when she
owns a
pub. Yeah, she owns a pub. It's admirable that they want to do the story, but in the environment that is set, it's very difficult to pinpoint one person who has. Maybe if they did it
give the story to Shirley. Like Shirley hasn't had a storyline since like Heather died.
No, I agree, but I don't think Shirley would ever. That would never be a character trait in Shirley that she'd want to change.
Yeah, but she's always had a problem, hasn't she?
She's always had a problem, but to her, she would never admit it.
That's part of the problem.
Well, true, but I don't think that she'll change. That's just her. She'll always smoke heavily, she'll always drink heavily, and she'll always be very dependent on Phil. Like, no matter what Phil will do, if Phil clicks his fingers, really Shirley will jump and be like, oh, yes. Well, Linda, I suppose it is out of her character, and that's the reason why they've given it to her. But for me, it's very difficult to do a storyline with alcoholism when everyone in the square seems to have a problem with alcohol. It's
and
just tricky.
Like, what's causing her alcoholism? Like Ollie, like being a young, like what's really causing it? Is it the yummy mummy storyline that's going to be the cause of it?
Well, it's because she wants to normalise, again, inverted commas, normalise Ollie. She wants Ollie to be a normal child, and unfortunately Ollie's not. He has autism. And so it's
not had the test results back yet, but
have they still not had that?
No, next week.
But he got tested months ago.
NHS.
Mick did want to go private, to be fair to him.
True.
He did try.
So we've got to talk about our new campaigner of Walford. Third time running, third time lucky, third time Ian's had this storyline. Will we get it all the way this time?
One got cut short, and the first one he didn't quite get the job, did he?
No, but it ran for a while. So maybe we'll go all the way with Ian this time.
Oh, it's a dream.
And he's hired Ruby, obviously, because Ruby's not just a nightclub owner.
I mean, she's just doing everything now, isn't she? If anyone offers her a job, she'll take it.
She's the new Kathy.
Yeah, she really is. She's a campaigner. She's for a political party, apparently, now. She owns a nightclub.
Does events.
Yeah, event. Was it Ruby Slippers? Was it Ruby Slipper?
Ruby Slipper Promotions.
I wonder if she's still got that 5-star review.
But she did a poster, very apprentice-like, and but Ian wasn't happy. He said it makes him look like pompous. I thought it made him look thin. He said it made him look fat. I mean,
Ian must have posed for that photograph because it was a professionally taken photograph, so he knew what was being taken.
Maybe she got it off Wiki or Google.
Just put Ian Beale.
Ian Beale cast photo, 1985.
The watermark over it. Ruby Slippers.
And he wanted like a second option as well, which was him being more of a friendly man in the pub.
Yeah, a fag out your mouth, eating fish and chips, pint in one hand, looking, an everyday person. I mean, one of us.
Boris did visit the Vic at one point, so maybe did Ian meet him, I wonder, at that time?
That was when he was the Mayor of London.
Yeah.
Anyone not a fade to what we're talking about? Boris Johnson, our Prime Minister.
No.
Hello, Mr. Prime Minister.
No.
I'm saluting him right now.
I'm not.
No, I wouldn't either.
He was on EastEnders with Peggy Mitchell, so maybe Ian might have a contact that way.
Oh, yeah, I suppose so.
Way in.
Do you reckon but you're not allowed to now because there's a general election happening in the UK. Another general election. Exciting. You excited, Ben?
No.
But obviously the BBC aren't allowed to lean show their leanings either one way or the other. No TV channel can in the UK at the moment. So
maybe this storyline will get cancelled.
Well, this is what I mean. It's a very difficult storyline for them to do because obviously it's only for an office in council, a local government, but still you have to align yourself, unless you're an independent, to a political party, one or another.
Maybe they just won't say on screen what Ian...
Well, his political leanings. Well, I think we could pretty much guess what it would be.
Yeah, you can guess.
Yeah.
But otherwise, this storyline's getting cancelled again.
But this is my problem. They tried this storyline so many times, and every time something unfortunate has happened along the way. And this time, again, without any of their control, there's now an actual general election happening in the UK. So technically, it's a very tricky storyline to do.
Because they had to cancel The Apprentice, didn't they, when that happened before?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh dear, Mr. Beale.
The Apprentice TV show.
But not only was that going on like in the real world, Ian did have trouble in his actual world because Ikra is campaigning like against him.
In Walford world.
Yeah, because Dottie's obviously cockroach from last week has caused trouble. So Ikra's like gone out on the warpath to find some dirt on Ian, which really shouldn't be that hard.
No, well, she's hired the best, which is Habiba in a plastic catsuit. I mean, she's taking her job very seriously.
There was some good comedy, like light-hearted moments this week, but the Habiba one I just didn't hit the right places for me.
No, I didn't hate it. It was what it was. I mean, there was definite references there to like Charlie's Angels, and she was following behind
the
him.
Avengers.
Yeah, like Emma Peel, you know, was always behind him. I mean, would have thought you'd be a bit more suspicious of what's happening around him.
She was like serving people in a catsuit in the restaurant. Yeah.
And Max kind of insinuated that she fancied Ian. I mean, Max again kind of stirring the pot.
Still can't handle him and Ian just casually owning a restaurant together. It's the most awful thing.
And they just can't get along.
And how he was making fun of Ian to Ruby as well. It's like, Max.
Yeah, but Jack, see, this was one of Jack's shining moments this week. Jack then turned it around to Max and said, well, actually, Max, probably the reason why you've got this thing against Ian Beale is because you and he aren't too dissimilar to one another. Perhaps you're too similar.
Yeah, because Ruby also called Max out as well at the same time. Like both Jack and Ruby sort of teamed up against him. So that's good.
Max had a really dirty old man moment this week as well when someone said, oh, you know, Ruby's a good-looking young girl. And he's like, yeah, I know.
You're really young.
Yeah, really young. It's like, oh, okay, Max, that's a bit tricky.
Yeah, gross. The other part of this storyline, we also had Bobby. Bobby showed his face again, and Ian's obviously ignoring him because he's busy doing his own thing. But they had a few like moments where they were more human. Last week, Ian ignored him when he invited him to go to the food bank, and it was discussed at the beginning of the episode on Monday. Ikra asked Bobby how it was, and Bobby said, "Oh yeah, it was really good. I felt really sorry for everyone." But then Bobby was going to his CBT, and he convinces this time Ian not to come with him because Ian had set aside the day to go along with him, but he didn't really want to go or have Ian go with him this time. But Bobby returned quite frustrated because he felt like that the person who was trying to help him wasn't really giving him the help that he felt like he needed. But it was nice that they were making Ian a bit more human this week. Like, he wasn't that 2D caricature he has been for the past 2 years. He was more human with Bobby, and he had like quite a human moment with Sharon as well. So that was nice to actually see him as that like family man again. Yeah,
it was a nice scene with him and Sharon actually, but then that doesn't really relate to this story. We'll probably talk about that a bit later on with Mel.
And he had like support from Lola, which I thought Lola wasn't supporting Bobby, saying that she doesn't want Lexi around Murderer a few months ago, but now she's like Team Bobby and giving him support and being supportive. So a bit of a turnaround for Lola's character.
I think Lola's kind of settled in now. Like, Lola's not kind of just been thrown into the deep end and still trying to find her way in the new environment of Walford, because obviously a lot of new characters, a lot of old characters where she's heard a bad reputation for them. Now she's settled in, she knows the family, she's, you know, making out with Jay on the sofa, which is really hot. And unnecessary. And I suppose now Lola kind of was able to give advice rather than watching from the outside in. She's now watching from the inside. And so it does make sense for Lola to be a much more comfortable around Bobby, I think, now, in the way she's been living in that house, what, 3, 4, 5 months now?
It's been
a while. Than that, so she should be used to it by now.
And Bobby's friendship with Ikra is still growing, which I really like their friendship, because like it's not, thank God, but it's not like leading to a relationship.
No.
And it's just nice that he like sort of looks up to her and asks her for advice on his religion and things, and she's there to support him. And she mentioned to him about having support where they go at the mosque, but he said he wants to wait till he's like fully converted until he commits to that.
Yeah, and I don't think it's because he feels like he's a fraud by not being fully involved or enveloped in the religion. I just think that he wants to do it properly, and he wants to show the respect, show the respect that the religion deserves. And yeah, I love their relationship, their friendship, and they seem genuinely quite happy to be in each other's presence. And Ikra's actually turned out to be a really nice character. She's really good with Keegan. She's really good with Ben. She's very supportive. She stands her ground, but she's almost like the flag waver for an underdog, and she's not quickly to turn just for the sake of other people's opinions. She has her own mind, she sticks to it, and she's looking after the people who she feels that she can help. And so yeah, Ikra's really gone up in my estimation.
Because there's no like malice behind what she does either. Like she's genuinely there to like help these younger kids. Yeah. And she stands up to Ian Bill.
I mean, who wouldn't? Everyone wants to stand up to Ian Bill.
But like, she's also got like the brains to do it as well, which is good. Like Habiba was doing all the research, but it was Ikra who looked at her notes and actually worked out the whole Dottie situation. Yeah. So yeah, she's a really good character. I mean, improved.
Very much. The character that hasn't improved, though, and has actually been a surprise letdown so far. And I know it's only been a couple of weeks. But Dottie, I feel
Dottie, yeah.
Like she's upset Ikra, she's upset Tiff. You know, two characters that we love and adore.
but not even that. Like I don't mind. Like Mel, she's upset everyone, but I'm enjoying Mel's performance and her as a character. But yeah, I feel Dottie,
she's a bit like a whiny kid still. Yeah. She's not grown up.
The actress always looks like she's on the verge of bursting into tears for some reason, but I don't really know why. I guess it's that brat. She's trying to look bratty, is she?
Yeah, but we've got a brat on the square already, and that's Louise. We don't need another brat. Louise is far more than enough for that.
And she also looks a bit too old, to be that character.
It's like, really, when Dottie was introduced, you wanted her to be this malicious character, but she's trying.
She doesn't seem to be very clever at it.
No. A bit like Ben, I suppose. It's a bit like Ben Mitchell. He's trying to be malicious, but he's not really got the right brain smarts in order to do it. But we
don't know what her intent is behind any of this.
She's quite easily led as well, isn't she?
Yeah, but does she fancy Keegan? Is that the reason, or she's not like Tiff? There's no intent behind her character at the moment. She's just sort of there.
Yeah, I think it's definitely that she doesn't like Tiff. I definitely think it's that. I think it all boils down to that. But I think she also didn't realise how strong and really what Tiff has been through has made her probably a heck of a lot more characterful as a person in the world than what Dottie's been through. Because I'm presuming Dottie's had quite a easy run.
That's the thing, we don't know. They haven't really. No one's Sonia hasn't sat down and Dottie's not said anything to anyone about herself. She's just sort of been plonked there and done a few bratty things, but there's no real reason behind why she's doing it.
And it's a shame. It's a missed opportunity. And this is we always have one a week at the moment. It's a missed opportunity. And this seems to be that.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's only been 2 weeks.
It's been more than that since Dot came back and Dottie.
But like her being involved with something, it's been a couple of weeks.
But I was so for Dottie coming in being the new Janine, but it's just been a bit wet. Yeah, which I don't like.
A bit sloppy.
So going on to our first game of the week now, which is another new game, I believe.
It's a new game for the occasion.
So we'll get to that, and then we'll get talking about someone's return.
So with Pam Coker returning to the square this week to say hello to Ben and to rekindle their friendship together.
Yep.
And her giving her blessings. Just blessing everyone, she is. She's like the Pope.
Blessing the gays. That's what she does.
That's what she does. She would have bought her rainbow-coloured scarf if she'd known.
Kathy nicked it.
I wouldn't surprise me. The way Kathy's been acting recently, it would not surprise me in the slightest. So I thought, just to refresh people's minds of who this strange creature Pam Coker really is, I thought we'd play a little game called Pam Sandwich, where the questions are the bread and the filling is the answers.
Lovely. I love a good Pam sandwich.
So do I. Very filling.
A few nuts in there too. It's all good.
May contain nuts. Oh dear, I found that far too funny. Right. So, 7 questions, because that seems to be the number of things I do all the time. 7. And each one has a multiple choice for you to answer the question.
Cool, I like multiple choice.
Yeah, it means it gives you a 1 in 4 chance. That's it. You get 1 in 4 chance to get it right. So, here we go. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Steady?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's cook.
Ready, steady, cook.
Right, let's go.
Question 1. After moving into 53 Turpin Road, Pam opened up her flower stall that had been previously moved after the Bridge Street Market, and which other market had merged? Was it A, the Winter Street Market, B, the Spring Lane Market, C, the Summer Junction Market, or D, the Winter Cul-de-sac Market?
Oh, they all sound fake.
You expecting? Okay.
I'm going to say Spring Lane.
B.
Why do I not know this? It's odd.
Because you're rubbish and you're not a true EastEnders fan. I'm sure everyone out there is
Is
shouting
that the one
it
that
to
Donna
you.
came from?
Yeah, a lot of them
Oh.
came from.
No,
I
that's
think
named
Shrimpy
anyway.
came from that one as well.
Yeah, okay.
You're right, by the way. It's B.
Oh,
Spring
good.
Lane. Well done. 1 point.
How odd.
Question 2.
Mhm.
After some encouragement, Pam is convinced to pose for a charity calendar by Sonia. But who does she pose with at her flower stall? Is it A, Les Coker? B,
Christine.
there's more of that later. B, Jean Slater. C, Shirley Carter. Or D, Mo Harris?
I'm going to say... I don't know if Jean was... Jean.
Jean Slater. She posed naked at the flower stall with Jean.
Yeah. Seems like something Jean would do, and she wears daisies all the time.
That's incorrect.
Oh.
It was D, Mo Harris.
Really?
Yep.
Thought she'd have bacon baps or something from a cafe.
No, that was Sonia. She had a big love heart in front of her. I'll post a picture on Twitter. Anyone will see it. At
All I
EastEnders
remember
Week.
is Peter
Oh, of course, that's all you remember.
and Dot.
Yeah, she was at the laundrette.
Yeah.
Laundrette. Question 3. What was Pam's former job before she was forced out of her occupation amidst accusations that she was responsible for her terminally ill son, Laurie's death?
I know the answer to this.
Is it A, social worker, B, A&E nurse, C, teacher, or D, policewoman?
Social worker. That's what she used to be.
That's correct. She was a social worker. And do you know...
Caring, loving,
And do you
kind.
know who she helped someone become adopted by and who was adopted to?
Paul.
Donna got adopted by
Oh,
Claudette.
yeah, of course, yeah. Of course.
Hence why they were
Gosh.
friends with Claudette.
So much history of all those lot.
I know. So Claudette adopted Donna and she was the one who helped it go through.
Mm.
She did the paperwork, all the pencil pushing. Question 4. What is the name of Pam's sister who she visits when she thinks Les is having an affair with family friend Claudette and also discovers that Les likes to dress as Christine? Is it A, Mim Crab, B, Lynn Krill, C, Gin Cray, or D, Bim Barnacle?
A, Mim, because I think they shorten her name to Mim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A, Mim Crab is
Yeah,
correct.
Mim Crab.
Doing very well. You always get the second one wrong. This is a pattern for you. Question 5. Aunt Babe blackmails Pam and Les when she discovers Les's secret, but what does she use as leverage to extort from them? Is it A, an old wig, B, a video recording, C, a little black dress, or D, a photograph?
Photograph.
D.
Yep, I remember that. Aunt Babes, because she burnt it on like a bonfire, I think.
She had a secret account as well, and everyone kept saying, "What's that account for?" She went, "Oh, it's my retirement."
Her savings.
Yeah, it's my savings. You're correct. It's D, a photograph, yes, and it was half burnt, but they didn't burn it all the way because they tried to get rid of
That's
Christine.
And she picked it up.
On a bonfire, that's right. Question 6. After Paul's killers were convicted for 30 years, Pam collects his clothing and visits a homeless shelter to donate them. But who does Pam see there? Is it A, Ben Mitchell, B, Cora Cross, C, Jay Brown, or D, Ian Beale?
It's not Cora, because that's when Denise sees her, I think.
No, that's when Denise goes to the food bank.
Yeah.
And Cora's there
Oh,
helping.
yeah. Well, maybe it is Cora then. He's giving me the answer now.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, I'm thinking it might be Jay, because that's when he was doing drug things.
Drug things.
With Roxy.
Getting included with the wrong crowd.
Yeah, he was doing like cocaine with Roxy.
And Max, let's not forget.
Oh, yeah. But I'm going to say Cora, because they're old. Both old.
They got a bond over their age. You're incorrect. It was C, Jay Brown.
Oh, it was Jay, so I was correct.
Yeah. Not Ian Beale.
No, it's way too early.
You're doing all right. You got 4. So this is your final question, question 7. Pam and Les decide to retire away from the square after Les's heart attack. After giving the funeral parlour to Billy and insisting Jay should have a job, where do they go to live out their golden years?
Oh, I knew that's going to... Don't know the answer.
Is it A, Margate, B, Eastbourne, C, Worthing, or D, Clacton-on-Sea?
I'm going to go with Clacton-on-Sea because it's...
It's only because everyone talks about it. I mean, I will give you a clue. So far, the D answer has always been a comedy answer.
Oh. What was the first one?
A, Margate, B, Eastbourne, C, Worthing, D, Clacton-on-Sea.
I thought they went to like Cornwall. Is one of those places in Cornwall?
None of those places are in Cornwall, but one of those places is closer to Cornwall than the other 3, and that's the right answer.
I'm going to say A.
Margate.
No, I don't think that's right.
Margate, which is literally just around the corner of London.
Okay, not Margate. B. What's B? The weird one.
It's C. You literally went through every single wrong answer.
Oh.
B, Eastbourne, no, it's C, Worthing.
Oh.
They go to Worthing, just down the road. It's near
nice.
Brighton. We could go visit them.
Nah.
Why not? I'd like a cup of tea from Pam. Les
I'd
is
rather-
busy.
He's not busy. He's retired. Dressing up.
Well, he doesn't go to the square anymore, does he? It's
I want
always
to visit
Pam.
Claudette.
Where's she now?
Don't know.
Let's do a quiz on Claudette. That'd be a nice question. All right. Maybe Claudette's there visiting. Maybe they've got a nice little guest house or something.
Hopefully. The last thing we saw Claudette was Kim banned her from ever going to Walford again because of Vincent.
Didn't Donna go to Claudette, didn't she?
God, no, Donna just left at the traffic light.
Yeah, but she left because of Rainy, but didn't she say she was going to see Claudette?
Oh, maybe.
Anyway.
Who knows? That's another quiz.
It's nothing to do with
Stop
Pam.
asking me questions.
This isn't a Claudette sandwich. This is a Pam sandwich. So you got 4 out of 7.
know.
That's not good, Ben.
No,
That's
close. I nearly got the other one.
yeah.
It's because I talked myself out of the J one. Which
Yes.
is annoying.
Yes. Well, because you thought I gave you the answer by accident. But I hadn't. The craftiness of it all. How did you guys get on? Let us know. And hopefully that's filled in a few gaps about Pam Coker. That was a Pam sandwich.
So after that game focused around Pam, I think it's fairly obvious that we're now talking about Pam. But first, unfortunately, we have to talk about Jay's storyline with Terry Bates, which is probably one of the most badly directed, acted, scripted.
No, I think that's unfair. Let's not be harsh.
No.
It's
the whole thing of from when they were at that car to the end of the storyline, the coffin, everything was just so half done, and I literally felt nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm used to feeling nothing, but I felt empty.
You felt
Emptier than usual.
More than nothing. You were a shell of a man. It
felt
was
so nothing.
It was strange how it started at the beginning of last week.
Built up.
Then nothing for a whole week. And then it ended in one episode at the beginning of this week. Or the middle of this week. And it was like anyone who...
Felt flat.
It felt flat because anyone who didn't know who Terry Bates was, which I'm sure there's a lot of viewers who have rejoined the show, who hadn't watched it in a long time or haven't watched the show before.
Or even if you did watch it then, you may not particularly remember Terry Bates.
There was
really.
there was no real background information given other than the fact that he killed Jay's dad. And okay, that's probably enough to go by, but a bit more of a background plot might have been quite helpful, quite useful. I mean, it's almost like a feature should have been written called "This Is Your Life, Terry Bates," but we didn't.
Yeah, well, that goes to show how much Terry Bates meant. But I mean, even because they had that big build up of Jay drinking last week, and I've got this big plan, and they were kind of building up. Even when they were building up, I wasn't really feeling it. And I don't think many people online were feeling it. Is what I got the gist of. And then when it actually came to it, it was even when Jay was acting, and he was they changed the camera from Terry Bates' coffin point of view, and Jay was looking in to the car, and I thought even Jay is not acting this with any heart.
Well, the actor.
It was so flat. The whole the light. It was sunny. I know that's not their fault. I don't know. There's the whole
there was
thing
no
of
mood
it. There was nothing to it.
No
It just
ensemble.
felt so fake and nothing, and then it just ended, and then they were back to normal.
But I don't really know what the danger was if Jay did just kind of stand in the church. I get it that there were...
Because the whole mob would come after him, I guess. But it was just stupid because if they're a mob, surely they know what Terry's like.
Well, that's the point, isn't it?
So
it's they'd probably just be like, yeah, that's our Terry, and then that would be the end of it. I mean, it boiled down to Lola worried, obviously, for Jay's life that they would get upset for him. But, I mean, to be fair, they probably would have just laughed him off. They probably just gone, oh, idiot. And then... Okay, that would have humiliated Jay, and yes, that would have been a really horrible thing to have happened to him. And ultimately, Lola was right to say, you don't really need extra pain. The best way to resolve it is to resolve it in your own head and just talk to the coffin. But then, I mean... He could have just done that at the funeral parlour, or... I know it was a very last-minute thing. She changed his mind. He had a flat tyre, so he had to stop. I don't know. It was
just flat and empty and no emotion or no... I didn't feel like I was urging Jay on or cheering for him. I didn't feel sad when he was doing his little monologue. It was just really... Blech.
It's weird because I think that
unnecessary.
when it was brought to the writers' table as an idea, I got a feeling that everyone thought, oh yeah, this is good. This is a really good idea. This is a throwback to Terry Bates, this gangster, this guy, this really nasty person. And it just, they didn't... There was almost the confidence wasn't there behind it. They've done a few, we've talked about it at the beginning of the show, they've done a few throwbacks to a few things, and they've been some of them been more subtle than others, some of them been a bit more thrown in your face. This one's one of them that was thrown in your face, so you need the conviction to go ahead with it. If you're going to really bombard the audience with this idea, then really convict with it.
Yeah, go through. It felt like they didn't quite go through with
Almost
it.
make it the main story of the week.
Mm.
You know, have lots of dialogue with Jay.
Because you thought Tuesday's episode was going to be full on Terry Bates
I
and Jay
really
only.
did. I really did, and it wasn't.
No,
And
two scenes.
Yeah,
Two bad
that's
scenes
it.
at that.
2 scenes off the square. Yeah, we could have learnt Jay's disposition from having more conversations. I mean, he had that long conversation with Billy, and he had that conversation with Ben and with Lola. But I mean, I don't know. It could
There
have.
was something not gripping enough to listen to his conversation, though.
I
know
it's
that horrible as that sounds,
No.
but there just wasn't enough behind it for me to like sit up and listen.
But there could have been, and it's weird that there wasn't, because Jay has had quite a checkered past on the square. You know, he's been homeless, he's been taking drugs. His father was killed for him. He had to be adopted.
Yeah,
you know, and
all sorts
of bits and pieces. And it's, you know, this would have been a really interesting time to actually almost delve into Jay's past as well, learn more or remind us of Jay's past. So then in future we could have done more with Jay, other than Jay being Lola's boyfriend or the owner of the car lot or someone who works for Pam and Les.
It's like Jay's only allowed a 2-week storyline a year.
Yeah.
And we've got an end of our 2 weeks, so that's the end of that. So
but they didn't even do anything with it. And then poor old Jay, he just seems to, like, what was his last 2-week story? It was when he started dating that girl
that prostitute
who ended up being a prostitute and stole his chair.
Yeah, and then before that, who had Star, who said he was like a paedophile, and that was slightly long running, but again, just sort of ended.
Just falls flat.
I guess wait for next year now for Jay's storyline. So fingers crossed, it's a good one next year for his 2 weeks.
What do you think it'll be?
I don't know. Crying at Roxy's grave. I'll throw that out there.
Why would he care about Roxy?
Don't know. But I'm throwing it out there for next year. We'll see what happens.
I don't know. It just seemed, as you said, a lost opportunity where they could have really bulked up Jay further
and pushed him on as a character to like a slightly another level. He's been there for years, like for a long time. He needs to be bumped up to another level now, but it's still.
But when the photos came out as well for the funeral, there was so much rumours going around of everything, and it just, I think maybe it didn't live up to the hype. Maybe the photographs are coming out as well, and just maybe that was it.
But one thing that did live up to the hype was Pam.
Oh.
I mean, how amazing was it just having her back?
I love her.
2 episodes, but it was just like she was really showing like, I'm here, pay attention to me. She really pulled it out the bag, the actress, and I don't want to say it, but she gave me like female icon EastEnders vibes, Peggy, Pat, Pauline, like stature.
I think she could easily come back as a standalone character. I mean,
what about Les?
I love Les. But there's obviously
if the actor wants to come
that's
back.
it. There's obviously a reason why Les doesn't return with Pam, and it's likely that the actor just doesn't want to reprise the role, which is fair enough. So if that's the case, then dare I say kill Les off and then have Pam return?
Yes, anyway, yeah. But I mean, she slotted in so well, and she has ties with Billy, Honey, Jay, Lola, Mick, Ben, Callum, like all these characters.
I mean, she could have when she walked into the pub, Mick was like, "Oh my god, Pam, it's good to see you again."
Really good impression.
You're welcome. I can do my Dyer very well.
Can you?
yeah.
But just lovely seeing her back. And obviously we have the history of Ben and Paul. So Ben introduced Callum. Callum was there, like, this is my time. Tuck my big smile. My hair's all done nice.
Baby gay's ready.
I'm ready to be Ben's.
I'm ready to be teenage gay.
Make Ben's second mum.
Adolescent gay.
But no, just mate.
Yeah, just his mate.
Friend to benefits.
Which really. Callum was okay. Which Callum really is. Callum was okay with it, but then it's when Ben kind of ignored him as well. So when he was
I'd ignore Callum if Pam was there, though.
I mean, I'd
turn my back on him.
Complete and utter undivided attention would Pam get if she walked
have
into
a cocktail
the room
with
right
her.
now. I wouldn't talk to you. I'd tell her to get you off the microphone and talk to me.
I'm a bit sad we didn't have a Kathy and Pam scene. I must admit.
Kathy just doesn't spend time at the Albert anymore.
I know. No one does.
She's busy selling recyclable cups at the Cathy's, isn't she?
You have to pay people to go in there, apparently.
What, into the Albert?
Yeah.
Well, no,
even Ben and Callum don't like going there much.
But that can't be true, because Kathy said that she's not losing any business from the sandwiches that Keegan and Nick.
Because there is no business. You have no business,
they
were
selling pastries and stuff. Remember, they have a lunch menu.
Pastries.
What would a gay pastry be? A triangle.
Rainbow.
A rainbow triangle.
But so obviously Callum got upset. Callum couldn't pay for his beer either.
Yes, because he's now having to pay for 2 rents. So presumably, obviously, as if 2 people were living.
Yeah, because Whitney obviously they used to split it.
Yeah.
Stuart's not helping. Rainy's locked up.
Well, Stuart doesn't have a secure job just yet.
No.
Although he's meant to be finding a secure job for when Rainy comes back.
Mm.
I don't know how that's getting on with the Bill Empire. Is there anywhere else he could go?
Fish and chip shop. That's where he needs to go. He'll fit in
Mm.
there.
Yeah, he'd do a
He'd be
good
good
job
in
there.
there.
Yeah, I reckon he would.
So yeah, he's strapped for cash. Ben notices and then mentions, because apparently Jay wants to leave the funeral parlour.
Well, he wants to concentrate on the car lot because he's a bit tired.
Which
of the
everyone
funeral
forgot
parlour.
they owned.
I completely
including
forgot.
myself.
As soon as he said that, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's why Max now owns the restaurant.
And it's hilarious how then none of them are telling Pam. Like, she's here like to look at that's why she's there originally, really, is to check the book.
Yeah.
Jay didn't feel the need to tell her he's thinking about leaving.
It's a bit of a loose excuse, though. Loose excuse. It's a bit of a loose excuse to turn up for the books because, really, he could, if they're electronic books, he could just send them via email, couldn't he?
Maybe her and Les had an argument. She was like, fine, I'm going off to the Albert for a weekend.
Do you reckon when she's visiting that Les, becomes...
Oh yeah, I've already have a theory of this. In my head, when Pam comes down to visit, because she always comes on her own, that's when she says to Les, she kind of accepted it, but she didn't want to see it, did she? When last time they were on
She didn't want it in her
full-time.
face, yeah.
Everyone who doesn't know, Les used to dress as a woman, but didn't tell Pam. But his friend Claudette, which was Vincent's mum, did know the whole time, and they were friends.
Yeah, he used to do it in order to...
Release his stress.
Yeah,
as
to
a
deal
businessman.
with difficulties in his life, and so it was his way to distress. And
Dress up as Christine.
That's it. And Claudette used to help him, but it was very much a secret until it came out one day.
Yeah. So my theory is that Pam says, right, okay, you want to be Christine. I'm going to go visit Walford, do the books, inverted question marks. You can dress up as Christine. Claudette pops over those weekends to take Christine out for the night. That's my theory is what happens.
I'd like Claudette to come back too.
Oh yeah, Claudette, Les and Pam. Ted's flat's free.
It was
All
cool
three can
seeing
move
them.
in.
Yeah, it was cool seeing them all together.
Old mates.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my theory on why she always comes on her own.
I'm inclined to agree with you.
Yeah. Knees up with Claudette.
Yeah. A few reds. Downed. Done.
But
Isn't Claudette Clyde's stepmother in Clique EastEnders?
yes, but yeah, same actress.
Yeah.
Different character.
And then she was also another character.
Yeah,
the actress who plays Claudette has been 3 different characters in EastEnders.
Just like Karen.
Yeah. Oh no. Well, no. That's right. It was 3, wasn't it? Because she played Mo Butcher.
Yeah.
In
Star's mum and
in the flashback.
Karen.
Yeah, Star's mum, and then I wonder how many, if that's the most a character, an actor or actress has been.
I think so. 3. Shirley's
3.
played 2. Stuart's played 2.
Yeah, Stuart plays the photographer when he's taking photographs of Sam during the beauty contest.
So let's get back onto Pam.
Yes.
We've got so much to Pam to talk about. Because did you think she kind of knew the whole time about Callum?
Yeah,
Because
she
she
did.
kind of like just comes out and says like, "Oh, come on, Ben."
Yeah, she knew.
But she's stupid. You know, a new haircut.
Well, she deliberately dropped him being in a relationship with Whitney, and then he was like, "Oh no, we've broken up."
A little stir, isn't she?
She is. But
Little
no,
bitch.
she just wants to get this gossip, doesn't she? That's our Birdie. She needs to know what's going on around her.
And she had like a little scene with just her and Ben in the cafe, which was really sweet, where they talked about Paul and how he wanted to not upset her by having a new boyfriend.
And she says, well, upset Paul and her, and she says, the one thing that Paul and I want you to be is happy. Oh, it's so lovely.
It was.
And she
And
pinches his cheeks.
And the scenes in the Vic were really sweet as well. Where she finally gets to meet Callum before she goes. And Callum was upset with Ben because he wanted him to be the manager of the funeral parlour. That's how we got on this topic in the first place.
Ben wanted Callum to be
Yes, but
the
Callum
manager.
didn't want that job.
No, Callum's got another occupation in mind. And
What did you think it was when he said, like, your first, like, I wonder what this job is?
Well, instead of working at the funeral parlour?
Yeah.
I mean, it made sense to me that it would be something military. And also he said I wanted to be on the front line. Well, I thought he would either be rejoining the army or somehow, or he'd be, or something, yeah, kind of like servicey. So ultimately what he ended up being was not too big of a shock for me.
No, I thought he was maybe saying like a paramedic or a medic.
Yeah.
If he was going down like that route. So that kind of makes sense for Callum because he's quite caring. And I thought, maybe he'll work for like the ambulance service. But no, he wants to be a bobby.
He does. He wants to be a policeman. Ben did say that he thought that Callum in the funeral suit was, pinching in all the right places.
Oh yeah, it was.
No.
Bumps in all the right places.
Absolutely. I don't want to kind of just openly tell people something that is perhaps a fetish of mine, but
Right.
I do find a policeman's uniform quite fetching.
No, so that's why you're happy with Callum's
So I'm
choice
quite
of career.
pleased. I'm quite pleased with the new choice of career.
You're happy to look over any plot hole
I'm
to see his Trojan.
I'm happy to see any plot hole filled in with a policeman's uniform.
How many references are we going to have to a Trojan? Is it a Trojan, that stick they carry?
A Trojan? No, isn't Trojan a brand of condom? Truncheon.
Truncheon, yeah. Truncheon, whatever it's called. I can't say words. But Ben's going to be having lots of jokes about that, isn't he? Handcuffs. Sharon will have information on that.
She does, yes.
Sharon will be like, can I borrow them, quick?
Can you imagine if like he picks up the wrong handcuffs one morning when he's going to work and the pink furry handcuffs? You're arrested. I mean, I feel a bit for Callum, really, because like I don't think he has it in him to be a police officer. Because you have to be quite hard and sturdy nowadays.
Jack Branning.
You have to be Jack Branning. I mean, is he going to ask Jack Branning for advice? And also, is this basically the first link to find that Jack's now going to basically end up not being a police officer? Because he's going to lose his job somehow again. Because he's being quite loose and free with his police badge, isn't he? And he's
taking advantage.
And and his status. And so, I mean, you don't need two police officers on the square. And Ben also is devastated by this news because now he can't do naughty things.
Yeah, I mean, well,
depends
on naughty things you do.
Illegal things. Again, hang on. He can't do things that break the law.
No, but can we just talk about how he's going to be a policeman? I know it's funny, but the last time he had his thing about going back to the army, he was discharged and he had PTSD and he had an injury in his leg.
It was an injury in his leg, yeah.
So you can't be a policeman.
He could be a desk clerk, can he?
That's typical Callum.
Okay, I know.
I'm going to be a policeman and receptionist. Buy all the books.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can be a policeman if you've got history of PTSD and he has that injury, the leg injury, or is it the leg injury, doesn't he?
Yeah, because he was thumping his leg.
Yeah.
It was numb.
So I don't think you can actually be a policeman. So I don't know if EastEnders are ignoring.
Since then,
heal, especially if you have a history of PTSD, you're not allowed.
Well, no, I know that's.
Are EastEnders just going to ignore it? Do you think?
I mean, is this going to be another reason of another example of the last 2 years just didn't happen? Just forget the last 2 years.
You can't.
But they seem to be doing it more and more often. Like all these, every time we're saying, "Oh, have they forgotten?" Happened, and that that's happened is in the past 2 years. EastEnders have a right knack of that.
The training's like years though. This is a very long-running storyline.
No. See, I can explain that straight away. Callum's going to the Slater school of training. And so he's going to do a very compact version.
She didn't finish hers. That just got deleted from history.
They still have the map on the wall.
Oh, do they?
Mm-hmm.
God.
Yeah.
It's holding up the chimney extension, isn't it?
Yeah. Presumably the cat story hasn't ended either. Presumably she's going to become a cabbie.
Oh,
I mean, everyone's doing... This really is like a training video for... So you want an occupation? Maggie Thatcher would be very pleased. Yeah.
But not pleased with this Callum police theory.
Oh, I love it. I'm really excited. But if for any other reason, just because I get to see Callum in a policeman's uniform, that's going to be hot.
I mean, that scene when Ben came home and was having like a mini gay breakdown over the fact that...
Not just any breakdown, a gay breakdown.
Ben Mitchell gay breakdown.
Lola
was just so funny.
Yeah, Lola and Jay yeah, absolutely. And they quite rightly laugh at him because they just realise... Like Ben, it's so funny that Ben has realised that he can't... We're just not going to be a perfect fit. Yeah, we can't be a perfect fit with one another anymore. But we did say, when we've said this for weeks, that Ben has to convert or be changed somehow in order for his relationship with Callum to be compliant for one another. And unfortunately, but is Ben the man for turning? Because I don't think Ben is. I think Ben is...
He's got it in him, isn't he?
He's a bit of he's a Mitchell, isn't he? Once he's got an idea in his head, once he's become this thing, it takes a heck of a lot for him to be changed.
I mean, is this what the writers are going to use as a way to change Ben back to the good side-ish? Like doing it for Callum because he's a policeman?
Well, I mean, I don't think he's just doing it for Callum. I think he's just doing it for... He knows he can't get away with it. If
Callum has to cuff him, won't he?
It's
not
funny.
Just in bed.
It's funny this. Yeah, that's quite right. South Park do an episode where they say the Simpsons have already done it. So they basically talk about a plot or scenario, and they say, "Oh, no, the Simpsons have already done it." And this does remind me of the episode when Marge becomes a police officer, and Homer's having that poker game, and they've got the illegal jeans in the garage, the garage, and so Marge is like basically having to arrest. And he arrests Homer for taking her hat.
Not taking him seriously.
Yeah, and taking him seriously. So I feel like Callum is Marge and Homer is Ben.
He's going to arrest Ben.
For
he takes his hat.
For stealing his helmet.
God. But nice events. Pam left happily after
Yes.
hugging them both and meeting her adopted sons, I suppose they are. But yeah, that's the end of Pam again. I think this is her 4th guest stint. She's obviously wants to come back. Just let her come
The
back.
actress has openly said she wants to return.
God's sake.
She
Be
said-
a friend for Jean.
She said when they got rid of Pam and Les, she was devastated. And she didn't hide the fact either. She said, I really thought I was going to have a longevity on the soap, and I've ended up not. I mean, she's always got the Kellogg's Cornflakes adverts to fall back on. And it is Christmas, so she plays Merry Christmas in them. So we can look forward to them
Mrs.
again.
Claus, yeah.
We can look forward to them.
Yeah, I want her back. So there.
We all want her back. Do you want her back?
Yes.
Let us know. Get in touch. All the details will be at the end of the show.
Right, we're going on to our next subject now because we've got a happy couple who got married in Scotland. We had a surprise EastEnders wedding which didn't end in like murder or divorce or affairs or...
Being pushed down a hill.
Yeah, it was all good in Scotland, yeah. Barry's there, the ghost of...
He's watching over. I did this for Janine.
Yeah, I really enjoyed these scenes. Like, I hadn't had any expectations or hope that I was going to enjoy them, but actually they were really good.
Oh, it surprises me. I thought this. I'm genuinely looking forward to this as a real feel-good story this week,
And it's really well done. Like the actual comedy, like not comedy, but like the light-hearted moments were actually really good. And, nice to watch.
Yeah, I loved it when they were chasing around the square trying to find a car, and then when
all trying to get ready and meet each other, but not letting anyone know.
But without Jack knowing or Karen knowing or Sonia knowing, and then when the adults, let's just call them, found out that they were eloping, then they all got into cars as well. And as I said, it did feel a bit like Wacky Races a little bit. Like they were all
racing to Scotland.
Yeah, the Anthill Mob and Penelope Pitstop and Dick Dastardly and Muttley. It just felt like they were all kind of
Bailey was Muttley. Naughty because she was like on the other team but in the other car.
And she was well up for it, Bailey, wasn't she? She was really, and this was the Bailey that I remember and I loved. Like she was a bit mischievous, but she knew she's more adult than even the adults are, and
but she was on the side of like the young ones.
Yeah,
she was a kid, so she wasn't like an adult in a baby's body. And it was really nice as well to see Keanu with his family because there's been months I think since we've seen him with any of the Taylors apart from Karen.
And it was the Keanu that you like again. It was the Keanu,
like original Keanu.
Yeah, the OG, the proper Keanu, and the one that you fell for and liked and supported exactly from the beginning. And they even did a call to it when they said that Louise was taking him over, and he said, "Oh no, Louise is not like that." And they all said in the car, "Yes, she is."
Yeah,
I mean,
she proved it,
and she did prove. I was about to say she was a bitch this week. Back to good old-fashioned Louise.
Why do they keep doing this with Louise? Because there's been a few moments this year where we've been like, oh, Kate Oates and Johnson have taken her in a really good direction. Like, she's been quite a good character. Not good as in nice, but she's still bitchy, but she's been not teenage bitchy.
Stroppy, spoiled little brat.
And then this week she was brought back to that, and it was really like, really?
Yeah.
And she was making excuses like she couldn't be bothered to go somewhere. Well, she like stroked her belly and like twirled her hair.
Yeah, she was like, oh, I'm not going to go shuffle up to Scotland for you. And it's like, no one really asked you, did they? No. You cow.
And then Lisa walks in and she goes, let's go shopping. And it's like, for God's sake, Louise.
Yeah, and then she's in the cafe and Karen, basically because Karen said, oh, I used to eat a lot of that cake. So it wasn't even being horrible to her. I used to eat a lot of that cake when I was pregnant, and God, I can't put it off. So just making, just a conversation with her. And so Louise just sees that as a trigger of, I'm going to now be a bitch. And so just sat there and said, oh, yeah, they've gone up to Scotland to elope. And it's like, oh, you cow, you absolute cow. I cannot stand Louise. Just...
Didn't do her character any good.
No, it really didn't.
Like, go on, Keanu, go bunk with Sharon once more.
Yeah, go on.
That's what it made me feel like.
I'm really looking forward to seeing the fallout of that, just to see what Louise is going to be like. Yeah, I want to see the moment when her heart breaks on screen, and I will love it. And I will just sit there and be like, I don't know, I'll just be sitting there just waiting for that moment to come.
Yeah, she's real horrible, but they went to Scotland anyway. Don't know how quick they got up there. It seems to just a trip up the road, really.
This is what surprised me, because... I drove to Scotland once, and I think I've told you this story before, but our listeners have never heard the story.
Alex story time.
Yeah, get ready for this, kids. So when I drove to Scotland, the trip took me, I think, 7 hours, but it should have taken me less time because I got stuck on the ring road around London. I say stuck, I went around London about 2-3 times.
Past Walford? They are
my
flying
past
from
Walford-
London, to be fair, but it's still a long way.
But it's a very long way, and I think when they discovered that there was a space left, and it was a 3 o'clock appointment, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So they would have had to leave Walford about 7-8 o'clock in the morning, surely.
It's funny. And they also went to a farm by accident somehow.
Oh yeah, and they got lost as well. So I don't
Very
know.
bizarre, but it was just really good. Like all the characters who were there, like on location, and it was a real good mix of like Jack and Whitney and Sonia with like Mitch and Bailey and
Oh, it was
Chantel.
amazing. It was just amazing,
Mm.
and I actually enjoyed Mitch in this episode as well.
Mm.
And I know I did, and there was a real heartfelt moment when they were getting married because they had to convince the registrar to stay as well. I mean, that was hilarious as well. The attack of the whole Taylor and Butcher family,
and Karen walking in on like the gay wedding and going like, "This can't be happening."
yeah,
That was really funny.
that was fantastic.
And like everyone's change of heart was quite. It was silly, but like I'll accept it because it was well done. And one by one they all accepted, and then Sonia was like, "No." She was like the last one to turn.
Yeah, but she did turn.
She did.
To her credit.
And hung up on Bianca.
I was going to say, when they said, is there anyone here present who can't, for a reason why they can't get married, Bianca should phone at that moment. She was like, no, cancel that phone call.
I was waiting secretly. I knew it wasn't going to happen. But when they was like going on about anyone who doesn't want this to happen, I was expecting Ricky to like walk in and then look at him and be like, oh, you're going to say no. And he's like, oh no, I'm just here.
I just thought I'd come. I did
I'm
this
happy
myself.
for it, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but the
that
payoff
a nice
was
nod.
fantastic, wasn't it? Right at the end, like it was a really nice ceremony. And Zach Morris, I thought, needed commended for just the way you could just see the childlike pleasure and excitement in his face that he was getting married to this woman. This woman, she is a woman who she loves. She's not dead yet, and they've been through. In their short history together, they have been
short
through a
history,
lot.
but it's fine.
Yeah. But then I like that, and I like that they're doing this
Whirlwind
romance, and maybe it won't work out, maybe it will, but I don't.
Anything you can do is try.
Exactly, and that's the moral
What's
we
a
should take
divorce?
home.
20 quid? Not much.
Which I think it's a bit more than that nowadays. but I don't know. I liked that they did this story.
It was good
because young people. I think young people are dismissed so quickly nowadays as just being naive and stupid and idiots. And when Keegan had that, really inspired and heartfelt speech saying like, you guys, we didn't want you here, but you're here, but we want you to enjoy, be happy for us, and you can't be happy for us. And Jack in the background, hey, well done.
Jack was the first one to go, wasn't he?
No, I know, but good for Jack. He saw, but Jack has incrementally been seeing the potential that actually this relationship between them is probably a lot more than, someone who's had a relationship on the square for 2, 3, 4 years. And they're just ruined. And...
Well, Jack should know because, he waited all that time to marry Ronnie for the second time.
Yes.
Died on the wedding day. So, if you're young, in love, you're saying yes, get there. Don't go swimming. It's all good.
Don't go swimming, yes, yeah. Luckily, there's no swimming pool in that register office.
But, happy end, which was nice. Happy ending.
But they now have their whole life ahead of them.
On Walford, so... May not be happy.
It might be tricky. But at least they got that sandwich name that they've been trying to work out.
And Keegan's not going to jail. Like, that was the whole basis of this.
That was mad, wasn't it?
Going to jail.
That was the one thing I
so
thought was a bit... Yeah, it was a bit like just quickly dropped in. It was like, oh, Ikra came running over and was like, oh, by the way, Ian's dropped the case. See ya.
Yeah. And Jack, delivered the news with his authority.
His booming voice. Yeah. You listen to Jack. When he speaks, you listen.
Right, so let's go on to our second game then. And then we can talk about a certain someone's breakdown. Not mine. We are back with our long-running game, Slater Family Values.
Yeah, it's a classic now. Nostalgic, some might say.
I've got a list of every single one we've ever played here, and it's getting so long, I've changed it up again this week. So anyone who doesn't know what Slater Family Values is, it's basically 6 degrees of separation. So I give you 60 seconds, 2 characters, and you have to link them together in 6 steps.
Yes, and it sounds easy, and you think it would be quite quick, but it does take me a long time to get there.
I mean, you can link these characters by storylines, relationship, murders, deaths, affairs,
working together,
work, anything.
But you can't just say this character knows this character because they walked past them in this week's episode of EastEnders.
No. There has to be an actual link.
Yes, there has to be a true link.
So you have 60 seconds. So are you ready?
I am.
For these two, it's the animal edition of Slater Family Values.
Oh no.
So, these are both animals that I'm about to say out to you.
It's quite appropriate that Charlie the cat, our studio cat is basically causing as much trouble as he possibly can as we're doing this.
Yes, he is. He's very irritating. But it's fine. So you might hear thumps around, but it's fine. So right, the two characters, or the two animals are Lady Di. Do you know who she is?
Yes, she's Mick.
Don't say it.
Okay, sorry.
Don't give too much away, but you know who she is.
Yes.
Right, I want you to link Lady Di to Willy.
Okay. And I can use humans in between, can't I?
Not Danny Di's Willy, the dog Willy.
That'd be too easy. And so I need, but I can use people in between.
Yeah.
I don't have to do an animal to an animal to an animal. Although if anyone at home can,
yeah, you get 10 extra bonus points. 10.
You get weekly points. You get 10 weekly points.
Okay, so are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, in 3, 2, 1, go.
Right. So Lady Di is has the proud owners of Mick and Linda. So I'll go with Mick Carter because there's probably a lot of attachment with Mick. Mick has... Oh, God, I'm stumped already. Mick was an alibi for Ian Beale when Ian was sleeping around with prostitutes and whatnot.
Yes.
And he got caught out when he was swimming.
Rainy.
Namely Rainy. But he's also had a bit of fun with Janine in the past. Ian's aunt is Pauline Fowler.
Yeah.
Pauline Fowler's mother...
Yes.
is Louise.
Yeah.
Lou
Yeah,
Lou Bill.
You got 10 seconds.
So Lou Bill is obviously doesn't like Willie the dog because they're friends.
No.
Because of Ethel. So Lou is friends with Ethel.
You're doing 7 steps, are you?
Well, no, because
you messed up,
Lou,
haven't you?
Yeah, but okay, Lou.
You ran out of time.
Lou let Willie into her house once, and then
No, you said you can't use that as a thing just now. So.
So
you've done too many steps, haven't you?
I did. I overestimated my steps. Oh, bums.
Do you want to know how you could have done it? One way of thousands?
Oh, there's not thousands, but give me one solution.
There probably is. Lady Di's owner is Mick.
Oh.
Mick's sister is Tina.
Okay.
Tina dated Sonia.
Hmm.
Sonia's grandmother is Dot.
Yeah.
Dot is best friends with Ethel. Ethel is the owner of Willie.
You've done 7 steps too.
No, I haven't 6. I've got them written down here.
Oh, fine. I don't care anymore.
Dear.
I've given up the will to live.
If anyone at home wants to try and do this, incorporate as many animals in it as you can, and you might get bonus points for each animal added.
Well, I might make this week's competition question to win.
No, that's a difficult one.
Well, no.
You need to win £1 million for that.
It's not for the animals, but if you can do a 6 degrees of separation between Lady Di and Willie, the dog... you get an entry, and
Not
if you
Danny Di is Willie.
No, and if you can do one with just using animals, then we'll give you 5 entries into the competition.
5 entries.
5 entries are quite tough.
That is quite tough.
So yeah, so send them to us at eastendersweekly@gmail.com, or you can find us on Twitter at EastEndersWeek or Instagram at EastEndersWeekly Podcast, and that will be your entry into our competition to win a piece of EastEnders Weekly merch, which we'll draw on our Christmas episode.
How exciting and festive. Well, there you go. That was another thrilling game of Slater Family Values Pet Edition. We get to speak about our favourite feud. Between Mel and Sharon is heating up.
Yeah, I know. It's really getting quite nasty now. It's really getting into the dirty tricks part of the feud.
It's getting nasty and I want it to stop.
No, you don't. You love every minute of it. You salivate every time they come onto the screen.
I do. It is one of my favourite things at the moment on EastEnders, this storyline.
I know.
Because it's just getting better. And Mel is just getting more and more unhinged. But not like just because of her breakdown and her being like that, but just the fact that she literally has 0 F's to give, and she just, whatever she thinks she's going to do, she just does it.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't care. Whatever happens to me, I've literally got nothing to lose at the moment. I'm mourning my son, but not very well, and I don't care what happens to me. I'm just literally going to throw everything out there and try and fight back Sharon, and Sharon can't.
Yeah, no, Mel
she does try her hardest.
She does. Well, and Mel basically says to her, really, what you have on me is not really leverage. It's nothing compared to what I have on you. And that really does just knock Sharon back down to the ground, to nothing again. I mean, it's just hilarious that even when Sharon was showing some compassion toward Mel, like saying, you need time to grieve, you need to think about your son, you've not given your time, you're not really giving yourself the time to do that. The next thing she does to retaliate, she just does something else to retaliate against Sharon. And that's show her some pills and a bottle of beer that she's bought her son. Yeah,
say you can be in the same situation as me if you want, basically.
I will kill your son and let's see how you grieve, shall we?
And I mean, quite evil of Mel, But I guess she's, like we say, she's literally got nothing to lose, so she's not really thinking very clearly.
And also Keanu's not thinking clearly because he now knows that Mel has this information.
Yeah, because Mel's just like, tease you with it in front of Louise.
Well, she's literally just throwing it in Louise's face. It's like, again, if it was any other character, if it was Phil there, he would suspect, he would see these
pick
little...
up on something.
Yeah, he would see these little signs. But Louise is like, look at this beautiful necklace I've got. Look at this lovely car I've got bought for me.
Curls.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't take much to distract Louise. Just something shiny and she's there. She's like a cat. Like something just shiny reflects into her eyes. She's like, beautiful. And she just lets the world around her just mould into nothing.
And it is funny watching Sharon because Sharon, we know that she's got like a friendship with Linda, which is meant to be like they're meant to be best friends.
Yeah.
But they've not really played on it for the past 2 years, I would say. Sharon's not really had a friend. Even when second Michelle was in it, they never seemed that close, did they?
Well, there was the hierarchy at that point, wasn't there? Like, who was the better friend? And there was a bit of a joke made at the time. But you're right, yeah, the Linda and Sharon relationship that should be there isn't there anymore.
Yeah, and I felt, because Sharon was kind of gripping at straws this week, trying to find a friend to talk to, but she couldn't. And Kat sort of noticed that she was upset when she had to sign the club over to Ruby. And I thought, maybe they'll have Kat and Sharon, because that's like a friendship that's not really been explored. But Kat kind of just mopped the floor and walked off screen. I was like, oh, like Jessie Wallace is really not being used. It's really strange.
Well, she's always watching things happen around her,
but never has anything to do.
Yeah, but then I suppose that's always what Kat's had. I mean, maybe it's to introduce Kat maybe a bit later on in the story, because that would be quite useful, isn't it? If she can discover the secret too, that could be something she could use.
But support Sharon.
Well, do you think she'll support Sharon? Well, no, do you think she will? Because she could, again, use it as a kind of... With Phil, maybe, she could use it just to kind of...
Oh, to settle the Martin situation.
So then Stacey can come back. So maybe. If it does leak, will Phil be like, well, we're keeping this in the family? But Kat's like, well, actually, now I know as well. And if you wanted to be kept inside the family, so
I did feel for Sharon because she didn't have.
She doesn't have any support.
Michelle.
Well, she doesn't have any support network whatsoever. But she can't go off again. She keeps flying off somewhere, doesn't she?
Do a little Skype call. If she just told Michelle what's going on, they'd be able to chat. I can just see it.
Yeah, but you can't build a scene from that because, unfortunately,
I'm living in dream world. But Susan Tully needs to be there.
Well, no, you don't need Susan Tully. You could do someone who does an impression of Susan Tully. You could, to be fair, but the only way they can really do it is if you see her, if they have Susan Tully, or you just basically see Sharon close the laptop and say, "Bye then, Michelle," and close the laptop and say, "Oh, I just had a lovely conversation with Michelle," and she kind of relays the conversation she had with Michelle with someone else, like Linda or something like that.
But that's kind of what I feel that Sharon needs that, doesn't she? She needs someone that she can talk to, but she doesn't feel like, even Linda, she doesn't feel like she can open up to.
I mean, if anyone could help Linda through her alcohol woes, surely Sharon is the one who would be the one to help her out.
She'll drink their wine for her.
Yeah, but no. Sharon's already said that as soon as the baby pops out, she'll be there with her glass of Chardonnay.
That's why she's so desperate.
I know, that's it. I don't think that's why she can't think straight, because she hasn't had a drink.
She's too sober for this situation.
This is far
Mel's
too much.
Not.
Yeah, this is. There you go. Mel's another character that's walking around the square drinking. But no, Mel's got bigger problems, I suppose.
I kind of liked, because Ruby was in a situation, she's obviously now owner of the club, but I quite liked Ruby this week, and I kind of kept feeling sorry for her, because she doesn't know what is going on between these insane women, and they're just walking past her and going, she's just Ruby, or no Ruby, or do this. Yeah,
but still being a snarky so-and-so about the whole thing. It's like when Sharon turned up and she went, "Oh, it's nice of you to turn up." It's like when for a meeting, which Sharon didn't have any idea about.
Yeah, that's true.
And Ruby knows essentially underneath it all what's going on.
Something's going on.
Yeah, she knows something's going on. But she's happy to do it, so she can stick her giraffe tongue out into the champagne flue.
Get a cheap club.
Guzzle down. Yeah, well, just get cheap champagne.
Apparently, the club's going to be called Rubies.
Original.
Not Scarlets.
Well done, Ruby. Well done.
We thought it might have been called Johnny's last week after her dad.
We did.
But no, she named it after herself.
Or Ruby Slippers. But then that could be another gay reference, I suppose. It could be a gay...
I bet her logo will be Ruby in red, neon lights with two red slippers underneath it with lights in them.
But then that would to me, I would say, if someone said to me, "Oh, you're going to Ruby's tonight?" The first question would be, "Is that a gay bar?" Yeah, a gay drag bar.
Kathy will be there what's this? I'm out of business.
Yeah, then Kathy will have a bit of what Ian Beale's medicine is with the sandwiches at the moment. Yeah.
But she's signed over the club. So Sharon, they're leading up for Christmas, obviously, for the big Keanu reveal, they're kind of leaving Sharon out and dry, aren't they? They're prepping her ready to have nothing.
But you're saying that Sharon's kind of been left high and dry and that she's got no support network, but she did have that wonderful scene with Ian this week. And it was a really gentle scene as well. It wasn't forced or didn't. It seemed quite natural with the two. Like the two actors are very natural with one another. They've worked together for 35 years on and off. And this scene between them was really nice. The way that Ian said to her, Ruby, she'll run it into the ground and you'll be able to buy it again off her for cheap. And which to be fair,
true and funny.
Exactly, it's gonna happen.
Catty Ian when he gets with Sharon.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they should be together. They are this kind of. They're still teenagers, aren't they?
And they do
Sharon.
have that friendship, but they just don't ever. They just haven't shown it in ages. But when the Lucy Bill death thing was going on, like the aftermath of it, they had loads of nice Sharon and Ian scenes together.
Even ones when they were quite angry at one another, and they, because they are the history of the square. They are the original EastEnders.
At one point, they thought it might be sisters and brothers. Remember when she was trying to find her dad, and they're doing DNA tests?
Oh yeah,
that was all going on. But that's when they were really close. So they do have that friendship, and it was nice to see them together. And it made Ian appear more human, and that was like the better side of Ian of this decade that we've seen.
Did you notice also when he had that conversation with Sharon that it was from that point that he then had that nice conversation with Bobby, and he offered Bobby that kind of gesture of giving Bobby the sandwich when Bobby was down.
That's true.
And then he asked Bobby, he comforted Bobby after he came home from his therapy session. And so it was almost like that. All he needed.
Sharon's soothing touch.
Exactly. All Ian needed was Sharon's soothing touch.
Smoky breath.
Yeah. But she said she's missing Phil as well, didn't she? She said, I can't wait for Phil to come back. But I know, but she doesn't want to... Be careful what you wish for, Sharon, because when Phil comes home next week, I think there's going to be some danger of fallout coming.
Because Mel's got what she wants, but now she's like, well, I've got what I want now, so I'm going to announce the secret to everyone.
All Mel wants is another baby, as that old song
creepy,
says.
Yes, and she has that box, obviously.
Yeah, Lisa found the box with Hunter's picture in it and the ultrasound and... Yeah. Oh dear.
And it was really good because finally Lisa got some like decent scenes as well, because we've been waiting ages for that. But she like confronted Mel over it, and she wasn't backwards or coming forwards. It's an old mate. She can say what she wants to her. She thought. Well,
she's trying again. She's I think second or third person to say to Mel, you've not grieved. You need to see help. You need to seek help. Yeah, exactly. You're just, which is clear because when that scene on Bridge Street when Lisa's basically having it out with Mel. Just the way Mel was acting, like she was looking around, just going and then giggling and just kind of mentally seeing. She knew people were watching her, and she was just desperately trying to show that she wasn't embarrassed, but she was embarrassed, and she was just going crazier and crazier and crazier. I mean, Tamsin Althwaite, I'm sorry, but I applaud her. And if she gets ignored for awards next year, for soap awards especially, I mean, it would be a huge shame. Tamsin Althwaite has been playing the role of her life,
especially these last like few months of Mel.
Oh, absolutely,
they've really stepped her up. And okay, it's not the Mel that we may have thought was coming back, but that's not necessarily a bad thing at this point.
It's the Mel we wanted, but we didn't quite know we wanted her, and it's perfect.
And she really is. I mean, the one thing that was kind of sad for me was the fact that they may have ruined the Mel and Lisa friendship. Obviously, we don't know what happens. We know that Mel's leaving very soon. We don't know if she's leaving alive or dead. Having that Lisa friendship, is that like the last tie of Mel? So I don't know. I hope she's not dying. I said that last week. I don't want her to die.
No, I think it'd be a shame if they killed her.
Is she maybe going to have a breakdown and go into a psychiatric unit? And
join Sean. Join Sean in psychiatric.
Like maybe and Sue Osman. Is it going to be that kind of exit for Mel? Permanent, or will she just see her ways last minute and disappear to Portugal on her own?
To me, I think it'd be really exciting to bring Mel back again in the future, as Mel and Lisa, but Mel and Lisa who have both had the same experiences and mental illness, and gotten over it, and now they're being strong together. And again, maybe a bit like the Rainy, where they have relapses here and there, but not quite as major.
I mean, it was just a slagging match. Like, two friends can go over that.
But it was just the psychotic looks in Mel's eyes and her face when she was in the square. And I mean, honestly, Tamsin is just playing a blinder. Do you like the way I say Tamsin if I know her first name terms?
Yeah, Tammy.
Me and Tams. But she is just playing an absolute blinder. And the supporting cast around her also, I applaud them all. The writing, fantastic.
Lucy Benjamin's been good.
Lucy Benjamin's been great. And it's exactly what we wanted from Lisa as well. We wanted her to be the stable one, the sturdy one, the one who was trying to steer the ship but not quite getting it right. The one who, you think it should be the one who's having the breakdown, but she's not. And she's trying to build up everyone else around her.
And she's using her past experiences to notice all these signs of all these characters on the square who are having breakdowns around Walford, which she can pick up on.
Because it's not just been Mel, has it? It's been Bex as well. Yeah. So maybe Linda will be her next target to help.
Yeah, she'll notice. Helping hands. But yeah, ended with a duff of a slap, which we very rarely get when people get slapped on EastEnders.
I miss
not normally
the duff. No.
So yeah, it was a big one.
I'd love a duff completely made off slaps. Just that'd be fantastic.
It could be done. But I'm assuming that Lisa will forgive Mel. Like, I think she knows that this isn't really Mel talking.
Absolutely.
So I'm hoping they can get over that. But obviously next week's the big week.
I know, very exciting.
So
we'll have lots more to talk about next week about them, I'm sure.
We will. So that was our roundup complete.
Certainly was. No, don't just turn off yet though, because we now have Who Won the Week, voted by you, and also our gossip. And there's lots of gossip.
And you know me, I ain't one to gossip.
Yes, it's the end of the show, but not the end of the content, because we still have a few bits and pieces to do. But before we start anything, including the Who Won the Week poll, your comments, and a happy return to a couple of Twitter pals, we have This Time Last Year, which is the section where we talk about a story that happened this time a few years back.
Mm-hmm. And BBC EastEnders are still copying my ideas on Instagram.
Yeah, they've stolen our original content, our intellectual property.
They had a really rubbish clip about Saeed choosing about a baby. Boring. But I got a different one. But anyway, I'm going to do birthdays and deaths first. Because lots of people were born around this time last year. So, 7th of November 1982. He got mentioned this week by Sonia. Jamie Mitchell was born. So it's nice that she mentioned him on his birthday.
I do like the fact that she said, when Tiff said, "Oh, how did he die?" She went, "That's a long story."
Martin.
I was going to say, I'd love her to say, suffice to say, Martin.
The Butcher Curse, which you'll soon be doing, Tiff.
Yes, the Butcher Curse. Forgot about that.
Yeah, she had to not only eloping but also running people over.
Yep. If you're not a butcher unless you've knocked someone down in a car.
Right, 8th of November 1988. Stacey Fowler was born.
Oh wow!
Having fun in her hotel on her own with her boots. 7th of November 1992. Yes. Lee Carter was born. So Linda, meant to be the best mum in the world, didn't celebrate Lee's birthday.
Oh, yeah, she's got bigger problems at the moment. But you think they would mention him?
Yeah, or Callum.
Although it's common knowledge.
Yeah, he is back at some point.
Yeah, so
we don't know when.
Maybe he'll come back and they'll say, "Oh, sorry, we forgot your birthday." We heard it on EastEnders Weekly.
We got 5th of November 1998. Cindy Williams was born.
Oh, Cindy could still come back. She died off screen.
No, Cindy Williams. This is Cindy Jr.
Oh, she's not. But she should come back too. With the actress who played her during Live Week, she was fantastic.
It's weird that Cindy Jr. is older than Louise Mitchell. That's really odd to me. She seems like it should be the other way around. So Louise Mitchell was born 5th of November 2001.
She had a baby young as well.
She did.
Yeah. Build up the bills.
And the last one was obviously the day after Louise was Hunter Owen, who was born 6th of November 2002. Let's move on. And deaths, obviously 5th of November, the same day that Cindy Williams was born, Cindy Beale died off screen in a prison.
Because she gave birth. It was during childbirth that she died. Is
she in witness protection because she witnessed a murder in prison?
Oh, I hope so. I'd love Cindy to come back.
Hi, Ian.
But Ian's got... See, we were discussing this. Ian has all of the family, or early family around him. Mm-hmm. So his dad... All died off screen.
Lou Bill.
Yes, even Lou died off screen. So potentially... there is potential there for all of Ian's past to one day just all return at once.
Yeah.
It's happened with Kathy. We all thought that's jumping the shark, but why not do it if you... I mean, I'd be happy but also disappointed if Pete Bill came back. But
For 2 weeks.
Although I am beginning to love Pete Bill at the moment because on the Classic EastEnders he's now doing dating videos.
Oh, God.
And he's like a stack of dating videos and he watches them holding a bouquet of flowers like a hope that he's going to fall in love with one of these women.
The start of his videos is so awful.
And then, all right, I'm Peter Bill.
No, Pete. Yeah.
People call me Pete.
Pete Bill.
Pete
Fruit stall.
Yeah, Pete the grocer. But that's not my name. I'm not Pete the grocer. I'm Peter Bill. But people call me Pete.
I'm a family man, divorced, but I've got a son. Yeah, I see a lot of my son. I'm Pete Bill.
Yeah, I'm Pete Bill.
Right, turn that off straight away, Pete.
Video dating. That shows his age, doesn't it? 90s.
Right, so the episode I watched was the 8th of November, 1999, and you can find a very short clip of it on our Twitter and social medias, where Dot is having a little word with second Martin about how he's acting up recently, getting into trouble, into bad groups, and she doesn't want him turning out like Nasty Nick.
Flash forward to
Yeah, so maybe Dot needs to have a word with
later.
Martin.
Yeah, see, that would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
If they
sit on Arthur's bench again.
See, that would have been a lovely throwback.
20 years ago.
20 years exactly, yeah.
And then he sort of mentions how they don't like talking about Arthur in front of him because he's died in the past few years and he feels pushed out of his family. And the other part of the storyline of this episode was Janine is back from Manchester. She doesn't want to live with her sister Diane anymore.
Who would?
Diane doesn't want her. So she's back, and she says loads of lies to Frank about why she's back, which obviously none of them are true. She just wants to cause trouble. So she decides, because Frank says, well, you can come back to live with us, but maybe finish your GCSEs at your school, and then you can come move here, just so you're not like interrupted.
God, you forget that she's still very young on the Classic EastEnders. We seem to be referencing that a lot today. So yeah, you forget she must have been just old enough doing her GCSEs. God, I can't imagine, because this was the one played by Charlie. Yeah,
this is
Charlie
when she was introduced.
Yeah.
So guess what? Another trait of the Butchers. Not only do they elope and run over people and murder them.
Yeah.
What's the other trait of a butcher? They tend to run away. Janine's run away twice already when she was younger. Diane ran away for a special storyline. And so Janine's like, you know what, I'm going to run away, Frank. So again, poor Frank, one of his daughters has run away and he's up all night smoking, phoning the police, panicked. He references Diane's running away.
Good.
Which I thought was really nice, actually. And Ricky says, oh, it'll be all right, Dad. Diane came back when she ran away, so it's fine.
Yeah.
So
lightning always strikes twice in the same spot.
But what Janine is actually doing is putting her feet up at Robbie's house.
And
she's playing the I think you're a bit cute, Robbie, I'll stay here. And Sonia's getting really annoyed because she's eating her cereal.
Don't interrupt Sonia when she's on a cereal. There's two things you don't interrupt Sonia with: cereal eating and trumpet.
But at the moment, Sonia's got a pen pal from Italy, I think. And Janine, to try and get on Sonia's good books, she pretends that she can speak and write Italian. So Sonia's like, oh, that'll really impress him if I can write some Italian. So Janine is obviously causing more trouble and letting Frank panic, thinking she's run away, when in fact she's at Dot's house.
It reminds me of when I was doing my French GCSE and I didn't have a clue what any French, and I basically constructed sentences using a French dictionary, and it probably, from a French person reading it, just looked so broken in their language, it just made no sense. I don't know why it reminded me of that, it just did.
Yeah, so that was Charlie Brooks' kind of introduction full time into the soap.
Yes, and she's still fondly remembered and loved to this day, so much to a fact that there's campaigns everywhere wanting Janine back.
35th anniversary's calling.
I mean, we thought we'd get it from Dottie, but we didn't. Thank you for that. There'll be another one next week.
Yeah, every week I'm here.
And another... You're here every week. Through hell and high water, Ben is here. And there'll probably be another clip on our socials as well relating to it, so you can watch that while Ben discusses it.
As long as I can find a heartfelt clip in the episode.
Which I'm sure you can.
If I look hard enough.
So, who won the week? We put a poll up on our Twitter, Instagram and our Facebook page, details of which will be said at the end of the episode. The 4 stories that you had to vote between were Birdie Flies Home.
Yeah, my favourite. Got my vote.
Good. Butcher Elope Cope.
I got that vote too.
Bill's Mighty Election.
I got a no because I don't agree with the storyline, but I did enjoy it. So I don't know.
And Shirley's Fuming.
No, hate that storyline. It's over.
I hate that I've referenced that YouTube video, to be honest. But anyway, we did. So who do you think won the week?
Birdie, Pam.
Yeah, Pam won the week with 39% of the vote. Second was Butcher Elope Cope with 32%. Third was Shirley's Fuming for 21%.
Really?
And Bill's Mighty Election got a lonely 8%.
That makes sense.
Yeah, his election wasn't that mighty after all.
Dear Ruby, fire her.
A few comments on a few stories. So first of all, the Sharon and Mel story. On Facebook, Cindy Calloway says, I like Shaz's compassion when she said you need help regarding Mel's difficulty in grieving for her son. Also on Facebook, Richard Gold said, I really liked the Ian and Sharon scene in the cafe. It struck me that they hardly ever have scenes together, but they are the two OGs. I like seeing the two of them share a quiet, connective moment together where Ian isn't just being dismissive and awful.
It does wonders for his character.
Oh, it does wonders for his character.
Just going to say as well quickly before we get in trouble, we need to mention two people on Twitter.
Oh, I was meant to do this at the top of this. Sorry, yes, two people have
Can't
returned.
forget them.
Two
They're very high maintenance.
They're eager beavers, aren't they? The eager beavers who don't like the beaver.
So you get 10 seconds, go.
Okay. Hello to @Ben'sBabyGay. We love your tweets and we love you, but not quite as much as we love @BenderMitchell.
No, I prefer the other one.
Formerly Bumchum Mitchell.
Yeah, got banned from Twitter.
He got banned from Twitter, but he's back and he needs your follows because he lost all the followers that he had beforehand.
Yeah. What's his handle?
His handle is at...
How many inches?
Yeah. Check 1, 2. Is @BenderMitchell.
Oh.
So follow our two very good friends, or else they'll have a tantrum.
@BenderMitchell, and there's an underscore under it after, isn't there?
Oh, I didn't
username.
spot that.
Yeah,
Sorry, it's
someone-
@BenderMitchell_, and @Ben'sBabyGay. There's basically a Callum and a Ben fan size, but they are great. Honestly, they're really funny and it's honestly worth following.
There's
so
at least
do
8
follow.
inches between both of them.
At least. Right, a few more stories and comments from stories. Linda's alcoholic story @RV2_0.
Frolic.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
How offensive.
If you're offended, I apologise. @RV2_0 says, I hate that Linda's storyline and where it's headed because she's surrounded by very selfish people who would drive me to drink. Linda's not the first Carter to act stupid around her friends.
No, it's true. They're all idiots.
Wow.
Especially Tina.
That's summed up the show, really. Keegan and the Tiff Elope storyline. At Bovary's complaint said, the scenes were the best part of the show. It was great to see them together and to see Keanu spending time with his family.
It was. Classic EastEnders that was. Go down in history.
This story was very classic EastEnders. It was really good to watch as well.
In 10 years' time, I'm going to do that as this time last year, that episode.
Perfect. Stay listening, kids. Concerning Jay's revenge storyline, @Noir4Noon on Twitter said, we've all been saying that this is only the start of the storyline and that we might see more of him spiralling in the next few weeks. If that is the case, we'll probably have a bit more of an emotional attachment rather than this as the catalyst.
I doubt it, because at the end of the week, he was just making it of Lola on a sofa. So
that's true.
I think that's the end of his turmoil.
Bit sad, really, isn't it?
That was it. You have to wait till next year, I told you. One a year he gets, one story a year.
Well, at A Wild Fairy would probably agree with you. They say it's just a recycled old storyline. It's hard to get invested in the storyline when you can't remember the first half. It just seemed forced. And a few just random ones which I found funny as I was throughout the week from people sending us on Twitter. @ConmanSir says, apart from Danny Dyer, Bill was the worst actor I've ever seen. I love that for some reason. I don't know why I enjoyed it.
No, Ian Bill's got good acting in him from Live Week. I always say Live Week shows his pinnacle. Danny Dyer. Yeah.
But will he get a story on Live Week? If there is a Live Week for that matter.
No, it's Sharon. I want to see Sharon on Live Week.
Oh, I'd love to see. It won't be in her contract though. You just know it won't be.
every shot with Sharon is pre-recorded.
Yeah, they'll have the
and
little.
Every other shot is live.
Yeah, they'll do what they did on the 30th anniversary. They'll just have certain scenes which are live, and so every time you see that Sharon's on screen, the little dog in the corner won't say live.
Pre-recorded.
Yeah, pre-recorded. We got a message from @E20 Podcast.
Oh.
They said, whatever happened to some of the other Slaters, Mo and Lynn, and what are they up to now?
I know the answer to that.
Just throw them at me, Ben.
Oh, they updated us last when Hayley was in it, because they said, because I loved the line, that because someone wanted to move in with one of them. I think it was when Jean came back for the first time, and they were like, oh, why don't you go stay with Lynn or Mo? Jean didn't want to stay with Lynn because she has a cottage and it has 7 dogs in it.
As opposed to 13 people, which was in the Slater house at one point.
13 dogs.
Yeah.
So that's what she is. And I think they just said that Mo is off, like, for example, Clacton-on-Sea with Freddie.
It's always Clacton.
In a flat, so there's no room.
Oh, Freddie, I forgot about Freddie.
Yeah.
Oh,
He'd be about 16 now, so he can be brought in.
Oh, yeah, I'd like that.
Freddie and Mo.
Yeah.
Lynn's got a house full of dogs, so she's happy.
Fair enough. If you're allergic to dogs, it's probably a hell.
Belinda's travelling with her friend in that car round
Belinda,
Europe.
yes.
Who else is there? That's it, isn't it? And then Zoe's in Ibiza with her mate Carly. And Charlie's dead.
Charlie's died.
Viv, dead.
Yeah.
Harry dead. Big
yeah.
Mo's in the house.
In the house. Big Mo's in the house.
Jean's in the house. Stacey Slater is in the hotel.
Yeah, well, no, probably not anymore though.
Hayley Slater, don't know yet.
Hayley Slater's just gone. Yeah.
She missed Cherry's birthday.
Cherry. Yeah. Not a good mum. Cherry Slater is with Kat.
Bev Slater's in her apartment block still.
Oh, really?
It must be Hayley's mum.
Well, why has she not visited Cherry then?
Oh.
I suppose she doesn't care, does she? She's trying to sell the baby.
Deleted from history.
Yeah.
But that's what they're all up to at the moment.
Oh, great. I mean, I know in real life that Elaine Lorden, she was photographed, so they can't change Lynn, so they can't return her unless it's...
Yeah, they showed a photograph recently, didn't they? Yeah.
They showed that. And Casey Ainsworth, who plays Mo, mentioned in Twitter last year that she would love to come back to have a big Slater Christmas.
Well, she did a Walford Web Ask recently, recently, and she said, I'm so busy. Every time everyone asked her, she was like, I'm busy, doing other things, busy. She's in loads of things. So.
I mean, I don't blame her.
And she's bleached her hair, and she can't be Big Mo. She can't be Little Mo with bleached hair.
No. Well, she can.
No, it's not big.
Well, I was going to say, she
Little
wouldn't be confident, is it? I mean, she played the character is encapsulated in that time. So it makes sense just to, if the actress doesn't want to come back, then fair enough. It would be nice to have a bit of a cameo. Like, not a cameo, just have like what Bianca did. Just kind of come in and leave.
Don't mention Bianca.
Okay. There was another question, because we asked people to send us questions this week, and there was a really good one from Kieran Smith, but I'm actually going to keep that to next week, and I'm also going to ask everyone out there the same question. So, Kieran, listen next week, and you will hear your question, and perhaps other answers attached to it too.
How mysterious.
I am a mysterious girl. Peter Andre wrote that song about me. So if you want to get in touch with us, there's lots and lots of different ways to do so, and here they are. On Twitter, you can contact us at EastEnders Week. You can contact us on Instagram at EastEnders Weekly Podcast. Don't forget to follow us on both of those. You can find us on Facebook if you go to EastEnders Weekly Podcast, search for that, and then click to join the group. You'll be more than welcome with open arms to come and say hello to us. You can find us on YouTube, again, just by searching EastEnders Weekly Podcast, or you can email us, eastendersweekly@gmail.com. You can find our podcast on Apple Podcasts or any of your favourite podcast apps. You can also find us on YouTube too. And if you do listen to us on Apple Podcasts, please don't forget to rate us and write a comment about what you like, or perhaps what you'd like to see on the show, because we'll really be interested and we'd love to hear from you.
I've heard enough of you, so I'm going. Goodbye.
I'm off too.